The movie starts in Vatican City, where Cardinal Matthias Brun and Vicar Imani are in a church. Imani informs Matthias that there has been a significant rise in troubling incidents, and immediate action is needed. Matthias presents the case of Angela Holmes, showing footage that reveals a demonic presence. He warns Imani that they are dealing with the Antichrist. The story flashes back 2 months earlier, when Angela is on a video call with her father, Roger, celebrating her birthday. Her boyfriend, Pete, has organized a surprise party that makes her very happy. When she sees her father on the call, her joy increases. However, while cutting her cake, she accidentally cuts her finger. Roger and Pete quickly take her to the hospital for treatment. A few days later, while on their way somewhere, Roger receives a call that prevents him from joining them. Angela and Pete board a bus, where a woman accidentally bumps into Angela, causing her to lose her temper. In frustration, she drinks an entire bottle of water in one go. Suddenly, a raven crashes into the bus window, shocking everyone. Before they can react, another raven breaks through the windshield, creating chaos and unsettling the passengers. The raven attacks Angela, but the driver manages to stop the bus safely. Later, Angela tells Pete that the bird bit her. He examines her hand and suggests it might be infected, and Angela says she'll go to the hospital the next day. Pete is in the kitchen preparing dinner when Angela walks in and asks if her dad has said anything to him. Pete, sensing something off, asks why she's shouting, suspecting she might be drunk. Angela mentions she's heading to the bathroom, but when Pete checks on her later, he finds her passed out on the sofa. He calls Roger, who begins to assess her. Suddenly, Angela wakes up, gasping for air. Roger calms her down, encouraging her to breathe deeply, and they rush her to the hospital, where the doctor advises that she stay overnight. That night, Angela experiences disturbing visions while she sleeps. The next day, Pete brings her flowers during his visit, but he's surprised to find they're wilted. After leaving the hospital, Angela catches a strange reflection of herself in the car's side mirror. As they drive home, a raven suddenly flies in front of their car, triggering a panic in Angela. She screams and grabs the steering wheel, causing an accident. They are taken back to the hospital, where it's revealed that Angela is in a coma. A group of doctors, along with Father Lozano, discuss her condition, noting it's been 40 days and she's on life support. The doctor asks Father Lozano to speak with Roger, who insists the crash wasn't an accident. Later, as the doctors remove Angela's life support, everyone thinks she's gone. However, she suddenly moves, and the doctor explains that this can happen just before breathing stops. Then, to their shock, Angela begins to cough, and the doctor confirms she is alive and responding. That night, Angela wakes up in her hospital bed and wanders into a ward filled with small children. Hearing one of them cry, she gently picks him up. Angela looks furious and starts to drown a child in the water. Just then, an alarm goes off, causing her to pull the child back. The guards rush in, and when Angela sees them, she tries to run, but they catch her. Meanwhile, the doctors and Father Lozano are discussing the situation. They review the camera footage and realize Angela was in 2 places at once, prompting them to inform the police. The next day, 2 officers arrive at the hospital. Detective Simons questions Angela about the previous night, stating that the hospital plans to file charges against her for attempting to kill a child. When he asks her why she did it, Angela gestures for him to follow her. As he turns, he spots a raven at the window and quietly leaves, exhibiting strange behavior as if he's not in control. He returns with 2 light bulbs and stabs them into his eyes, shocking everyone present. Later, during a psychiatric session, Angela expresses that the place is driving her insane and insists she wants to go home. In the next scene, Pete is asleep in his bed when he feels something behind him. Turning around, he sees Angela, which frightens him, but she disappears just as quickly. When Pete visits her in the hospital, Angela tells him she's been hearing strange noises and voices in a language she doesn't understand. She warns him that something terrible is about to happen, though she doesn't know what. Angela then notices Father Lozano on a monitor and asks Pete about him. After he explains, she admits she doesn't trust him and feels scared. Meanwhile, Father Lozano watches Angela on the camera, and suddenly, she appears behind him, saying that the time has come before vanishing again. Father Lozano begins searching for Angela in the gallery, while Angela chases after him. When he turns around, he finds no one there. He heads to her room, where he discovers Angela asleep with the door locked. Suddenly, he sees her standing right in front of him, but in an instant, she's back on her bed. Next, Angela is with Dr. Richards, who asks her questions. She smiles at her and declares she won't share anything because she believes Dr. Richards can't help her. A nurse enters Angela's room, bringing special medications from Dr. Richards. Angela begins to act seductively and behaves oddly. While looking at the ceiling, it suddenly collapses on the nurse. Hi movie buffs, don't forget to hit the subscribe, like, share, and bell button. It's free and it really helps. You'll be notified of each new recap. Roger arrives at the hospital, where Father Lozano informs him about the nurse's death in Angela's room. He inquires about Angela's mother, and Roger shares that she was a call girl. They fell in love and got married, but after he went to Japan, he learned that she was pregnant. She wanted an abortion, but he convinced her not to go through with it. Soon after, he received the news that their daughter was born, but her mother abandoned her. Since then, he has raised Angela alone. Father Lozano mentions that he wants to discuss this with the diocese. In another scene, Angela whispers something near the wall, which triggers chaos among the patients. They begin to fight, kill each other, and commit suicide. Father Lozano intervenes and stops her, restoring normalcy. Later, Dr. Richards asks Roger to sign Angela's release papers. The scene shifts back to the beginning of the film, where Cardinal Matthias Brun and Vicar Imani are watching the video. Matthias leaves to see Angela, asking Imani to remain behind. Father Lozano brings the cardinal to Angela's home, where he begins preparing for the exorcism. He sets up a camera in her room and asks Pete about Angela. Pete explains that understanding her is crucial to prevent Satan from deceiving them. When Angela is brought into the room, she looks frightened upon seeing the cardinal. Pete and Roger help her kneel down. The cardinal performs the Eucharist and offers Angela a wafer, which she eats but immediately spits out. He tries again, and this time she spits out blood. The cardinal tells Angela that resisting is futile and asks her to sit on the bed, but she refuses. Pete steps in and helps her sit down. The cardinal then reaches into her mouth and pulls out an egg, which he hands to Father Lozano. Angela continues to produce 2 more eggs, astonishing the cardinal. When Roger asks about this, the cardinal explains that the eggs symbolize the Holy Trinity. Suddenly, Angela becomes possessed, and her bed starts to spin, causing the cardinal to fall. They rush to her side, and when Angela opens her eyes, they are inverted, terrifying everyone. She speaks in a language none can understand. They have to restrain her with chains, and the cardinal begins sprinkling holy water on her, eliciting loud screams from Angela. After a moment, she seems to return to normal, and the cardinal inquires about the egg, urging her to come back to her true self. However, Angela becomes possessed again, declaring her intent to rule the world. In the ensuing chaos, she attempts to break free from the chains, injuring her arms in the process. She manages to escape and climbs onto the wooden beams, growling at them. The cardinal pulls her down and continues to douse her with holy water. During this, Satan taunts that he will rule both earth and heaven. Suddenly, Angela snaps back to normal and begins to cry, asking her father and the others to leave. As the cardinal prepares to exit, he picks up a knife, but Father Lozano intervenes, reminding him they are there to rid Angela of the Satan within her, not to harm her. The cardinal insists that Satan has taken over her soul and tells Lozano to follow his lead. He approaches Angela with the knife, and Roger questions if it's just part of the method. The cardinal confirms it is. He starts to strangle Angela, demanding that Satan reveal himself. As he waits for Satan to emerge, Angela dies. Roger, in anguish, holds her and then watches in shock as she suddenly disappears, leaving everyone stunned. In anger, Roger attacks the cardinal, but Father Lozano stops him. Just then, Angela reappears, and Roger is shocked to see stigmata on her body. The cardinal observes blood seeping from the eggs and declares that their end has begun, indicating the presence of the Antichrist. Angela launches an attack, causing everyone to stumble, and a lamp ignites. She proclaims, "I am your end, and your end is my beginning." The cardinal stabs her in the stomach, but it has no effect. She removes the knife and stabs him instead. She then starts to levitate, causing the house to explode and sending everyone flying outside. Approaching Father Lozano, she instructs him to spread the word that he has returned. 3 months later, Father Lozano visits Imani and hands him the recorded tapes from that day. Imani takes him to a secret location where they document Satan's deeds on earth. He shows him news reports revealing that Roger, Pete, and the cardinal perished in the explosion. Miracles are occurring throughout the city, with people being healed of their ailments. In an interview, Angela is asked where her powers come from, to which she replies that she doesn't know, she simply wants to help as many people as she can. Over the last 2 months, millions have begun to follow her. We see massive crowds gathering in an arena, eager to witness Angela's miracles. The Book of Revelation warns that a false Messiah, one who mimics God, will come to earth, leading millions astray. And then, the day of judgment will arrive. Thanks for watching. If there is anything you would like to see, let me know in the comments below. Until next time, stay safe.